Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Santo Torcivia, an economist and business partner with Floor Focus. I know we just talked recently, but I thought I needed some help from my resident economist on whether or not we're in a recession. We did hear yesterday that Q2 U.S. GDP is down 0.9%, paired with the 1.6% drop in Q1. So tell us what your thinking is.
What you hear a lot on the news is the Wall Street definition of what constitutes a recession, which is 2 quarters of consecutive decline in GDP. Well, there's other factors into it. And quite frankly, there are a whole bunch of other things that would make up whether we're really in a recession or not. It comes down to the old saying, a recession is when my neighbor gets laid off. A depression is when I get laid off. So it all depends on your perspective. Right now, if you look at the context, year over year, first 2 quarters versus first 2 quarters of consumer spending, and I should add, consumer spending is 70% of GDP.
Right.
Consumer spending is up in current dollars, 9.7%. The consumer has not slowed down. Even in real dollars, inflation-adjusted dollars, it's up 3.2% year to date, year over year. That's through the first 2 quarters of the year. So are we in a recession? No, I don't say that yet. I say we're in a slowdown. Now, it could turn into a recession, but I don't see us being in a recession just yet. I don't necessarily accept the Wall Street definition.
Yeah.
The other thing is, housing is down, housing construction, savings, people are pulling money out of their savings to meet obligations. And the Harvard Joint Center for Housing Remodeling Activity Indicator says we're still above average. So you got to look at the context of where we are in our industry before we all feel like the sky is falling. And so far, and I don't want to be Chicken Little here, the fact of the matter is we are doing okay right now. Floor covering, which the government measures on a current dollar basis year to date, is up 7.3%. Now, these are consumer purchases. They do not take into account contractor purchases, builder purchases, building owner purchases on the non-res side. But on real dollars, it's only down 2.4%. So, flooring out the door at stores is still doing okay. Down 2.4 is not that bad, but it's pretty good considering last year was a banner year.
Right, up 18%, yeah. So let me throw in a couple of things. There are 2 ways of defining a recession, but we really don't know until the National Bureau of Economic Research tells us whether or not we're in a recession. They're the ones that officially call it. I think you were chuckling with me before the interview and says that, the recession will be over by the time they call it, right?
That's right. Typically, they're a little late on their calls here. They're very rigorous in how they look at this, so... Yeah. Some would say, they're typical government workers, but that wasn't me that said that.
Well, take a look at some other things. I've always said employment is strong. The economy added 2.7 million jobs in the last 6 months. And, like you mentioned before about consumer spending is up. And sentiment just came out today is up 3%. And, fuel, the price of filling up your tank has gone down. We're definitely in a downturn, but potentially not a recession, right?
That's correct. And should the government see the error of its ways and change some of its policies, especially its energy policy, this could all be averted, not immediately, but if we can get energy prices down significantly. Energy prices affect so many things, from transportation to nylon to, polymers, everything. And if we can ever get those prices down, go back to our energy independence policy, then we would be in really good shape. But right now, we just spend, and inflation's going through the roof.
Yeah. Another factor in GDP is industrial production. And industrial production is soft right now because of inventory levels. So as I've mentioned before, they say down here in Georgia that the barn is full. As soon as we blow through some of this inventory, the industrial production should pick back up.
Yeah, last year there was some overbuying for fear of logistical snafus and price increases and any number of reasons. And we worked out of most of that inventory, but we're still working out of some of that. So yeah, that all has to be taken into account. But so far, I'm not ready to call this a recession.
All right. Well, I appreciate you spending time with us and telling us what our resident economist thinks about where we are. Again, been talking to Santo Torcivia, a principal with Market Insights, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.